Okay, in this lesson we're going to look at how to divide polynomials using long division. So long division, kind of like you're used to dividing. Please set up your notebook. Our essential question is, how do you divide polynomials using long division? Pause the video, and when you're ready to get going, go ahead and turn it back on. So let me zoom in here a little bit closer so we can see the problem. You obviously have it there in front of you. So in this first example, we're going to be dividing a binomial divided by a monomial. Okay. Now we could set this up a little bit differently, but we're going to go ahead and start thinking long division. Remember that this binomial is our dividend, so it's going to go under our division sign. This is our divisor. Okay, so something to think about. So we're going to set this up just like we would a division problem if it was all numbers. Everything is in order, it's in descending order, so we don't have to worry about adding anything here. Okay, so to divide this problem, we're only going to kind of think about one term at a time. So we know that negative 5x, because it's a monomial, it's only going to go into one term at a time. So we need to think, okay, negative 5x times what gives me 20x? Well, negative 5 times negative 4 gives me negative 20. And then x times x would give me that x squared. So positive 20x squared. And just like we would with normal division, we're going to do our subtraction. Okay, hopefully this is 0 right here. That's our goal. Okay, then we're going to bring down the 5x. Okay, so negative 5 times what gives me positive 5? Well, times negative 1. I don't need another x there, so this is going to give me positive 5x. And when I subtract, I get a remainder of 0. So my quotient is negative 4x minus 1. Remember, quotient is the answer to a division problem. Okay, let's look at the next example. The next example is a binomial divided by a binomial. So we're going to go ahead and set up our division problem. Okay. Now this one is a little bit tricky here. This is a binomial, so a binomial can't just go into 4x. It has to go into 4x plus 1. But we're only going to focus on our first term to figure out what number or term we need to put there. So x times what gives me 4x? The x times 4, right? So now I'm going to multiply 4 times x plus 1. Just so you see here, we're doing 4 times x plus 1. So that would be 4x plus 4. And now we're going to subtract. Well, in this example, we're going to have a remainder. And so just like you would if this was numbers, we take our remainder and we're going to write the remainder over the divisor. And we're not going to just write 4 and 1 something. We're going to write 4 plus 1 over, and then our divisor was x plus 1. So this is how we would write our answer or quotient. It's kind of weird, so take a minute and look at that. Okay, let's set up the next example. Okay, by now you should start getting familiar with it. So this time we have a trinomial divided by a binomial. Okay. We know that 3x plus 4 can't go into 6x squared, so we're not going to put our first term there. We're going to put it here above the 17x. So again, we're just going to think about 3x and 6x squared. 3 times what is 6? Well, 3 times 2. X times what gives me x squared? X times x. And so now we're going to multiply the 2x times our binomial. So if you need to, write it to the side and think about it like this. That would give us 6x squared plus 8x. Okay, do our subtraction, and we get 9x plus 20, and we're going to keep going because we still have a place here. We're not ready to write a remainder yet. Okay, 3x times what gives me 9x? Well, that would be times 3 right there. So now we have 9x plus 12. Okay. Ready to subtract, and we have a remainder of 8. So remember, to write our remainder, we write plus the remainder over the divisor. Okay. In this last example, we have a trinomial divided by a binomial. But I want you to notice in that binomial, number one, it's not written in descending order, and it's not going to match up because we don't have that bx term in the middle. So what we're going to need to do in this one is we're going to have to add a placeholder. Okay, so this binomial right here, it's the divisor. We're going to have to write it as x squared plus 0x plus 1. We haven't changed the value of it, but we've added that placeholder so that we can easily divide this. So I'm going to rewrite it just so I don't quite have room. So we have 3x squared plus 2x plus 15 divided by x squared plus 0x plus 1. And so again, remember, you're only looking at those first terms to help you figure out what number goes there in our quotient. So 3 times x squared, this would be 3x squared plus 0x plus 3. And I'm going to do my subtraction. And I get 2x plus 12. And so we do have a remainder there. So I'm going to write plus 2x plus 12 divided by, and I don't have to put my placeholder when I write my divisor. I'm just going to write x squared plus 1. And there is my quotient.